Yes, welcome back to the Queen of Web Academy channel. It's your sister here again, Habiba Aleilo, the Queen of Web. So let's continue from where we stopped in the last video. In the last video, we covered code structure, how to structure our code on JavaScript, and then variables. So today we are moving into data types. To assign value to variable in data type, there is always a certain type of values you can assign to a variable in data in JavaScript. For example, let's say I want to give value to this variable name and I say let name equal to Shade. So this is an example of a string in JavaScript. You will see that this value being assigned to name is different from when I say this is a number, right? So why this is a string? So that is what we want to learn today. So all these data type, the value, different kind of values we can give to our variables, what data type do they belong to? So in JavaScript, we actually have them being basically divided into two. So just as you can see here, I want to believe everybody can see this very well. Now, this diagram here. So this data type, then we have primitive and the non-primitive data type. These non-primitive data types are also called reference data type. So under primitive data type, in the simplest way I can just tell you what primitive data type is, that kind of data type that is being okay, the kind of value in under primitive data type, like this case where we have name Shade, the only value given to this name here, to this variable name, is Shade. So inside a box labeled name, it is only one value that is inside it. So that is primitive. For this age, the only value inside this is 30. So there is a box labeled age. The only value we put inside that is 30. So that's a kind of uh primitive. So primitive is the kind of data type whereby only one single value is being assigned to that variable. But in a case we have something like this, um, and I say let student names. No, so this time around, I am not talking about just one student. So I want to write names of many students, and I can start by putting Shegun. So all these, so inside this one now, it is not having only one value. There are a lot of values being assigned here. So to actually target any of these values, we need to move a bit further rather than just calling name as we can do here and we will see Shade. If we just call name, we already meant Shade. But in this case, if I want to target Shegun, I cannot just say student names and it will give me Shegun. No. You need to move into this thing. We call this one an array. You need to move into this array box, then start looking for what Shegun is. So that is an example, a good example of non-primitive, not a single value being assigned to variables. So you need to move deep inside that variable to be able to see your value. All right, so let's go to the JavaScript website to actually learn it very well and see how it is being explained. So they said a value in JavaScript is always of a certain type, for example, a string or a number. There are 8 basic data types in JavaScript. All of these together, let's count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You see this under this plate is not only object, we have function still inside object, we have array inside object, all right? So they have stated everything here saying basic data types. There are many of them that can be mentioned, but here they are specifying them to be just 8. So we can put any type in a variable. So for example, a variable can at one moment be a string and then store a number. Okay, so let's say this variable now say let's message hello. This is an example of a string data type. Then it comes down and reassign another value to that variable by using number. So uh you see, programming language allows such things like called dynamically typed, meaning that there exists data type, but variables are not bound to any of them. So you will know the data type you have assigned to your variable, but you are not it is you can change them. You are not bound to stick to that, all right? So now the very first one we're talking about here is number. We all know what number is. Number is just number. So it can and anything we call number, an operation, a mathematical operation can be a mathematical operation can be operated with it, like multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, and so on. Then you need to know that not just one, two, three, not just this digit are called number in JavaScript. There are other ones that we call number that are tagged as data type of number too, like the infinity, like the minus infinity, like this NaN. NaN means not a number. So it is still seen as all these three are also seen as number under JavaScript. So that means you can perform mathematical operation on them. So you can actually say infinity plus 2 and it's going to give you value, or let's see what this is going to give us. I don't think I need this again. Okay. Let me quickly perform something and let's see what is going to happen. So let's say let addition be. So this time around we want to say infinity plus 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let's now alert addition. Let's alert addition and see what it's going to give us. So it says what? Infinity. So that's the answer. But if you had put what is not a number there, like let's say I change this infinity and I put it inside a quotation to make it a string. Yeah, so let's see what this is going to tell us. So you're going to see that this is just going to write this number alongside with this infinity, but this is now a string. They cannot actually be added together. So they will be added together like the way we add string together. So, and that is what you're saying there. So let's move on. So note that we have infinity minus infinity. We have not a number. All these are actually numbers in Java, number data type in JavaScript. So we can tell as a result of division by 0. So they said infinity represents the mathematical infinity, like this sign. It is a special value that is greater than any number at all. So sometimes when you need to loop into, don't worry, you're still going to get there by the time you start learning looping. So sometimes you will need to assign it because you don't know what your answer can be and you want to allow any number no matter how big it is. So you are adding infinity as the highest number. So that means anything below infinity can be that number. So we said we can get it as a result of division by 0. So when you say alert 1 minus 0, it's going to give you infinity. Or just reverse it that is something like this. Any hand represents a computational error. Okay, so it is the result of an incorrect or an undefined mathematical operation. So for instance, if you say this not a number and divided by, we use this plus to actually join strings together in JavaScript. We call it a concatenation. Yeah. So, but aside from plus, let's say it's another mathematical operation. Let's see what it's going to give us. And that is where you're going to, okay, this one is giving us infinity. Yeah, so you can see, so it's already telling us that it is not a number. So because this particular string that you're trying to perform a mathematical operation on it is not a number. So that's the answer it's going to give you. So let's move on. Um, don't worry, by the time we start learning number on its own as a topic, so we will be able to perform mathematical operations on it and know how to deal with them. Now, the next data type is big integer. So this big int is, they say in JavaScript, the number type cannot safely represent integer numbers larger than this value. 2 exponential 53 minus 1. So this is the largest number that can be tagged as a number in JavaScript. And when it is carrying a negative sign, so it is the smallest number that a number can carry. So anything lesser than this or greater than this are tagged big integer. So you don't actually, these are not actually used oftentimes. So we are moving forward. The next one we want to learn is string. Yeah, and this is where you need to pay a lot of attention. You see, a string in JavaScript must be surrounded by quotes. And then we have three different quotes that we can use for string in JavaScript. In JavaScript, there are three types of quotes. We have the double quote, which, okay, I've not used that earlier. So I said let string is equal to, so this is double quote, and you can put anything you want to put there. Another way you can string two, single quote. You see single quote and double quote in JavaScript are the same in anywhere. They are the same under JavaScript though, they are the same. So when you start learning other stack, then you would start knowing there are some that are so they strictly want double quote, but here it is still both single and double quote, they are the same thing. So let me just say single quote. And then the last one is what we call back backticks. Backticks on your keyboard. I don't know where it is on phone, but on your keyboard it is, so on window keyboard it usually comes before number one. So your number that is being arranged above the alphabet under the function keys. So the first keypad there at the left side before digit, before number one, is your backtick. Is your backtick. So this one has a function. It is usually used when you, how do I put it? Extended functionality code. Like when you want to put any of these variables inside your code. So it is highly useful. I'm going to be explaining something to you now. So we call this back ticks. Yeah. Let's say I want to alert what we have here. And the main way I can do it, if, okay, let's say I want to alert what we have here with another, what do I call it? With other strings. I want to say hello and then Habiba. Okay, so let me just say, let's name, and I want to assign Habiba to it. Okay, so let name be Habiba. So I want to say hello Habiba, right? So hello is this str, which is our first string, and then to add Habiba, I will need to use this concatenation, this plus, then uh, okay, even I can just say Habiba since I have it here already like this, but I want to use, let me not use this, let me just use hello instead. So I want to say hello, then Habiba. If you come here now, okay, you will see, and there is no space in between them, so you can just put space after the hello, and then you see hello Habiba here. Okay, so this is how you can use this double quote or single quote. Either of them work this way with another variable. But if you want to use backlit, maybe for a whole function or something, you can just inside the same backlit, you can, for this name now, you cannot put it inside this place. It's not going to see it as, it cannot be here. So it's just going to see it as normal string with the hello. So it must stand outside like this with this plus sign to add the string together. But in case I don't want to do this baby coding of a thing like this, and I just want everything, so I will use backlit and say hello, and then I will use inside the backlit, you're just going to pick dollar sign, and this curly brace. So inside this curly brace now is where I will now put name, and this let me just comment this out. So and this is going to give us exactly what we want. So I can still continue after this. Hello Habiba, this is a backtick, or this is backtick, this is a backtick, whatever. And then you're going to see it here immediately. So I can put a variable right inside this string without using all these plus and minus and all of that. But for this case, if I want to achieve this same result from this place, after the hello, I'll put plus, then this name, I will put another plus to be able to write this again. But it is not so in this one. So that is how to use backticks. So they are trying to give us example here. Let name be John. Then alert hello, yeah, John. So that is backlit. But if it is not this backlit, you will need to use plus. So like what we have here, the result is, can you get that now? Okay, this is the backlit, backticks. So it's highly useful in this case than all these ones that we need to be using concatenation every now and then to add them together. So the next data type we want to learn. So what was the first data type? Number. So under data types we have primitive, and under this primitive we have talked about, what is all this? We have talked about number, we have talked about big, integer, then now we are talking about, okay, we have also talked about string, and now we are moving into boolean. Okay, so example of number. So let's sum be less than 1 plus 2. So for number, we can perform mathematical operation on it. But for big integers, they are bigger than number. And then we have talked about string, and that is where all these come from. All these are for string. Yeah. Then so under boolean now, yeah. So under boolean has to do with yes or no kind of data type, like true or false. Boolean type has only two values, true and false. So this type is commonly used to store yes or no value. True means yes, correct, and all of that. False means this and all of that. So let's say we want to say something like let is a student. Get it, like we want to and then we can just say true or false. So that either of the two. So we may want to do something like, okay, we are trying to create a website for students, and only students are allowed maybe to upload their picture on it. So you just need to include this kind of logic that will first confirm, is this person a student? So is a student, and then we'll get information from whatever you want it to get it from. Maybe it's the student that has to click on it, or you will tell your system to look into the database and see if that person actually exists. If the name of that student actually exists, then we'll pick it as true. But if the name does not exist, automatically it will pick it as false. So you can just say let is a student be if it is a true, if it is true, if the person is if is a student is true, do this. Allow him or her to do this. But if it is not true, don't allow him or her to do this. So that is what Boolean is all about. So this is so if you say alert is the student now, so it says true. Yeah, so that is Boolean for you. Then let's go to the null value. Okay, another way for comparison, we use it too. Let is greater is equal to 4 greater than 1. So it's going to tell us if this is true or if this is false. So let's quickly see that. Um, is equal to 4. Yeah, and then we want to alert is greater. So we know that 4 is actually greater than 1. So we are expecting response true. So let me first comment this out. We're expecting response to be true. Now let's check. We have a lot of alerts before. Hello, Habeebah, this is backtick. Yeah, then true. So it's telling us this is true. Okay, to let it make more sense, let me use a backtick. Remember, if you want a variable to be inside a backtick, you must encode it inside. You will first write a dollar sign, then this curly brace, and put your something inside it. You can just say true for is greater than 1. Or another way we can actually do this better to practice more is, let's say, let num1, let the first number is equal to 4, and let num2 is equal to 1. So now instead of 4, we are going to write num1, and then instead of this, we are going to write num2. Yeah. So and here, instead of writing this 4, we will just say num1 auto, but we are inside backtick, so we can put anything we like there. So dollar sign, then your curly brace, and then you say num1 is greater than, what is num2? So your dollar sign and curly brace, and then you say num2. So let's refresh now. And we're going to see, okay, this after this, then we're going to see true, 4 is greater than 1. So, and this is what we actually put there. So you will see that, so when you just, in this case, we can just come here now and change our 4 to 10, and then change 1 to, let's say, 30. So everything will change here now by the time we restart. And then you can see this false. So since we are still saying Alatos is greater, is it greater? No, num 1 is 10 now, num 2 is 2, is 30. So definitely it is false. It's not greater than. So you say false. 10 is okay. 10 is not greater than 30. That's what we're going to say. So that's going to require a lot of effort too. So let's just continue this way. So let me just add is not greater than 30. Yeah. So the next thing we want to learn is what we call null, null value. Still under primitive. You see, the special null value does not belong to any of the types described above. It is not a boolean, it's not a number, it's not anything. So it forms a separate type of its own, which contains only the null value. That's just its value, null. So in JavaScript, null is not a reference to a non-existing object. So when I let's say an object is not existing, it is not null that will be the value of that one. We are going to get to that, and that is, we call that undefined. But in this case, okay, like in other languages, null pointer, like in other languages, oh, so it can be a null when an object does not exist. In other language, it can actually be specified as a null, but in JavaScript it is not. It does not mean that that object does not exist. It exists, but the value is just nothing, or it is empty. It is just a special value which represent nothing, empty, or value unknown. So you know that that object actually exists, but you don't know the value, or the value is currently empty, nothing, and all of that. That is what null is all about. Just like this, let age equal to null. Okay, so we can, excuse me, go to the next one, which is undefined. So undefined also stands apart on its own. It makes a type of its own, just like null. The meaning of undefined is value is not assigned. So okay, let me give an example of this now. I can just say let h be equal to this. So this one now, no value inside this thing. And then let us alert age. I want to comment this out, and maybe the alert we have before here. Okay, so let's see what this is going to give us. So it says nothing, right? Because nothing is actually there. So if we go to our developer something to check, so it's likely going to tell us that it is null because you have not assigned any value to it. But let me come here now and say um let age alone. Let me just say let age. That is what where undefined comes. Let name. Let me say, oh no, I've used name before. Uh, okay, let class. Let class. Then let's set this day, and I will say alert class. Wait, let's see this. No. How do I put this such that it's going to show undefined for us? But in this case, because this you did not assign any value to this class, so that's the difference between that and this. This one you assign an empty value, or even if you don't know the value, you shall put it there empty, it is nothing. But in this case, you did not even assign any value to this, and that is undefined for you. So if a variable is declared but not assigned, then its value is undefined. So you declare a variable but did not assign any value to it, that is undefined. But if a variable you did not even declare or anything, or you gave it a value but it is empty, that is null. Okay. So the next one, uh symbols. So in this case now they are putting object and symbols together. Meanwhile, object, okay. So object is the object type is special, and under this object is where we have the array, the example I gave you, and we have functions too. We are going to learn all those ones that are a bit advanced in JavaScript. All other types are called primitives, all the other types before this one, because their values can contain only a single thing, be it a string or a number or whatever. In contrast, objects are used to store collections of data. Just like the first example I gave you where I put names of many students inside that. That is a collection of data and more complex entities like the functions when we get there. So being that important, objects deserve a special treatment. They say, okay, we will deal with them later in the chapter object, okay? And that is that on data types today. Yeah, so that is that on data types. So you can try a lot of things on it to see how you can use them conveniently. You can go on Google and even search where to use boolean and all of that. So to start getting familiar with what we are about to move into. So all the same, I wish you all the best. Keep coding, keep moving higher. The sky is your limit. You can actually do this. It's not difficult. We have not even got there yet. We are just starting. All right. Take care and make sure you give a thumbs up to this video if it is helpful. Make sure you share it with your friends. Drop a comment. If you have questions, kindly drop it in the comment and all of that. Bye. See you in the next video.